I now call this regular meeting of the Davenport Community School District Board of Directors to order. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Director Beck, would you please read the board priorities?
The Davenport School Board establishes the following priorities to ensure the academic success of all students. Provide leadership and direction to improve the overall learning environment in our classrooms, schools, and district, including the health, safety, security, and happiness of students and staff. Direct and support actions, programs, and activities which reduce the impacts of poverty on our students, their families, and our community.
Thank you. Director Hayes, would you please read the mission and vision statements?
Yes, I'll be happy to. Our mission statement enhances each student's ability by providing a quality education enriched by our diverse community. And vision statement education that challenges conventional thinking, prepares all students to compete in a global society, and inspires our students, parents, staff, and community to answer the question, what if?
Superintendent Schneckloff, would you please read the goals we'll be going over tonight?
Focus areas: it's the expectation of the board and district finance issues are resolved, and staff will continue to keep the district in compliance with all state reporting mandates. And goal 4, demonstrable progress and disproportionality. And number 5, emphasis will be placed on student achievement.
Thank you. All right. I will now conduct a public hearing on expenditure from flexibility account. Notice of the hearing was published in the Quad City Times on June 16th, 2022. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please step forward to the microphone or call 312-629-6799 and enter the meeting ID 928-6457-1428, and the passcode is 944648. State your name and address for the record. Seeing and hearing none, I now declare the public hearing closed. Action on this item will take place later in the meeting.
Yep.
And I just want to note we are going to be removing item 12.07, the juvenile court services, and we will be taking action on that at a later meeting, at a different date. Recognition. I will turn it over to Superintendent Schneckloff.
Well, I would like to take this time to thank Kim Hoffman. Yes, she loves to be recognized, by the way. But over the course of this year, Kim Hoffman has done 2 jobs. Not only has she helped lead the Mississippi Bend AEA, but also joined our cabinet and very quickly began using the word "we" because she became one of our team members. And as you can see, growing excellence is a huge part of our vocabulary and the direction that we're heading. So tonight, as her last official school board meeting, I would like to recognize Kim Hoffman for helping our district grow excellence. We oftentimes talk about leadership as someone that's willing to pick up the rope and pull in the direction, and Kim was willing to do that for us. And she's not afraid of a difficult conversation, and she's not afraid to move things forward for the right cause. And I know everyone on our cabinet has appreciated that all year long. Your leadership, your expertise in the area of special education. So Kim, if you wouldn't mind coming up here, I would greatly appreciate it. So Kim, I would like to present you with two things. One of them is relatively new, and the other one is brand new. This is a Growing Excellence Awards in our district, and it recognizes people that you have to be nominated, and so I nominate you on behalf of our cabinet and school board for helping.
Look at me! Look how that works.
For helping us grow excellence, stepping up in a very difficult time for us. And while we found an excellent candidate for our position, we are very thankful that you did that. So thank you so much, Kim.
Oh, TJ, thank you.
And then this second piece is something new that we are doing, and this is a mission coin. And this is somebody that is helping move our mission forward in our district, helping move our cause of growing excellence forward. May you carry it around in your pocket, put it on a shelf to remind you that you helped us grow excellence in a moment of time that was very difficult in our history. So Kim, thank you very much.
Thank you, TJ. Keep playing. It's been a pleasure.
We're going to get a picture of the board.
Oh, my gosh. And a picture. Oh my goodness. You are just hitting all my buttons, TJ. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, guys. So pleasure. This award. Appreciate it.
Hang on one sec. Would anyone like to say anything to Ms. Hoffman before we move on? Thank you very, very much. All right, now we'll move on to presentations.
Tonight we have Allie Vandermeid here with us today to give us a presentation on esports in Davenport. Thank you for being here, Allie.
I haven't given a formal presentation in this room, so here we go. So like you said, my name is Allie Vandermeid, and with all of the other hats that I wear inside of this district, I also wear the hat of being responsible for esports. I am also the founder and past president of the Iowa High School Esports Association, the National Association for Esports Coaches and Director, High School Advisory Council member, and the founding member and this year's current president of the Interstate Scholastic Esports Association. I've also presented a lot and been a master clinician for esports at a lot of different things that you can see in front of you. I just want to kind of set the stage for talking about this just so you know who I am in relevance to this. Today, this presentation is all about the history of esports in Davenport, the impact that it's had on Davenport Central students, and our future vision and goals for where we'd like to see esports go. This officially started in the spring semester of 2017. I was a chemistry teacher at Davenport Central at the time and coaching the DCHS robotics teams. I would like to openly admit that I did not walk into this looking for children to play video games at school. When Matt Runke first approached me to ask if I would sign off as the school sponsor on his high school esports league, League of Legends team, my first response was, huh? And then after some very rapid Googling, my second response was to see an opportunity to connect with a student that I had struggled to bridge into chemistry. And let me tell you what, it worked. A student I could barely get to engage in classwork had become my TA by the end of his senior year. After success with the league team, I began to see the wider scope of all of the benefits that an esports team would have in a school like ours. You see, students who had never had a community in our school before have a positive home. Those who were disengaged, disconnected, and discouraged found themselves in a place where the thing that they love, the thing that they practice so much, is not derided, but instead celebrated. Students who had just as soon skipped school found themselves walking down our hallways, seeing a teammate and yelling, "Blue Devils!" and giving each other a high five as they walked past. Because for the first time, they felt like they belonged. That fall, esports started to take over my now physics classroom. I had the donated computers stacked along the countertops, and we set them up and tore them down every night. Smash Brothers was played on my projector, and sometimes we had to borrow the teacher's next door room because there were so many students. While club and chaos was a thing that worked for a while, it didn't give us every benefit I was looking for in esports. We needed the competition aspect to fully motivate and engage our students. So at the start of my spring break in 2019, I sent an email to every athletic director across the state asking if they or someone from their school wanted to join up and work with me to start an esports competition in the state of Iowa. The Iowa High School Esports Association was officially founded in March of 2019. We had great discussions with both the Iowa High School Athletic Association and the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union upon startup, and we were encouraged to be our own standalone organization. We are now considered the official provider of esports in the state, and I was able to attend the Athletic Directors Conference this spring. We shared booth space with NACAD, and I was able to sit on a panel with 2 athletic directors from the organization to answer as many questions as we could in this short session. From our humble beginnings of 8 teams, we are now well over 60 districts this spring. I took a new job as the technology innovator in the fall of 2019, so without a classroom, we needed a new space. Thankfully, the new librarian, Miss Mussman, welcomed us in, and we were able to move to a more permanent home in the library. We're still using donated or discarded computers that students help me take apart and rebuild later, which is an excellent career connection, I would like to state. But we found success with what we were doing. I tell this story all the time when presenting on how to start your own esports program, but at the very beginning of this, I made one of my first mistakes. I held a DC time where the tagline was just esports, and I had an announcement that was, "Do you want to play esports? Sign up for Miss V's DC time." This was a mistake because I ended up in Kaler Auditorium with more than 120 students by myself who were very excited for the experience. We scaled much better in the future. We were off to the races, winning our first state titles ever awarded, defeating Mount Vernon in Smash Brothers and Osage High School in Overwatch. We were actually able to go to Mount Vernon to play the championship match face-to-face thanks to Mr. Flynn supporting us, and that was definitely the correct decision. Students shared Discord information and are still friends to this day from that meetup. Just like basketball players grow used to seeing each other on the same people on the court year after year, we know who's coming on the esports field of play as well, and we got to meet those people in person, and that brought so much excitement to our students. COVID. We're about halfway through our regular spring season when the spring break that never ended started. Gamers have a specific chat tool that we use called Discord. Discord has a couple of functions that include both text and voice channels. We are no different. We have an esports Discord as well. During that shutdown time, students were able to find connection together on our Discord. Only students who had signed permission forms and we'd verified their student status at Central were allowed to join, but once they were in, the chats abounded. They talked about games and what they were doing, and then in voice chats, they continued to play together. We had to shut down our official season because the athletic orgs shut down, but I'm very convinced that we would have won the League of Legends championship. That summer was when I was awarded the Director of the Year. I was supposed to go to an awards ceremony in Chicago in the fall of 2020, but I'm sure you can guess how that turned out. During the pandemic, we kept esports going as well, but involved getting equipment out to students. We used the old donated machines from community partners, and students checked out a pandemic box so they could continue to participate with us. This connection was incredibly vital for these students, especially during a time of feeling so isolated. COVID hit our program hard, especially considering the population we serve the most. Representing diverse populations, students affected by the digital divide struggled to maintain contact with the team, and we wanted to help. Before, during, and currently, my roster size for esports has only grown over the last 3 official years that we have had competing teams. Students out of our program have gone on to professional esports teams, gotten scholarships, both full and partial, to colleges and universities across the country, and have made friends that have surpassed graduation. As of 2021, over 350 colleges and universities reported offering scholarships for esports for students. 100% of the seniors who have graduated out of our program in the last 3 years have received at least one, if not multiple, scholarship offers. We've had several students take up those offers and gone to college where they were not originally planning to, all over the country, including places like Minnesota, Colorado, and Texas. At DCHS, we are considered a varsity sport, meaning the students are held to account for the same expectations as any other athlete. As their coach, I check their attendance, grades, and behavior referrals each day. I follow up the students that night if there's an incident. Students who are actively failing courses are not allowed to participate. But we don't banish them. Instead, because we are housed in the library, they find themselves a comfortable place to work. The moment they are passing all of their courses, their return is celebrated. I've even had students run at me with their phones facing me instead of themselves, with Portal showed up to show me their awesome test score. They're driven to succeed because they know they are letting their teammates down if they do not. In our program, students learn a lot of things. We use video games to teach the students digital citizenship skills. As we might all understand, students can be spicy online. During esports, we are constantly talking about and getting to practice a lot appropriate behavior online. We say GG, which stands for good game, each game, and ensure students are not trash talking. As the current national champion for getting toxicity out of esports, I'm very personally focused in ensuring our students feel safe and know how to create a community in that environment we must prepare them for. Students are also learning social skills both on and offline. How to relate to other people and build relationships in person is vitally important, and for some of these students, a little bit of a struggle. We help them find their things in common and make that connection. They also learn skill building techniques. For a lot of our students, they come in thinking that they are good at a game, which they may or may not be right, but everyone can learn to be better. Learning how to learn is a critical part of becoming a meaningful member of society. So we teach them how to build skills, how to watch game tape and reflect on their gameplay, and how to be practitioners of a craft. Every title we participate in is a team game. Students might be on the field of play 1 versus 1, just like in wrestling, but their total score adds up to the team score and decides who wins and loses. They have learned that everyone must be at your level if you want to succeed, which ties into leadership. It is not my job in the arena to know the minutia of every title we host. I'm lucky if I really know the titles that we host. We host 7 of them competitively. That would be like asking the same person to be the head coach of football, cross country, basketball, bowling, baseball, and tennis all at the same time. There's some crossover, but you just can't do it right. Instead, we have team captains who are committed to being team leaders and teachers for that title. When you're part of something, typically for the first time, you really learn to communicate. We have students who don't know that they need to tell us when they cannot be there. Sometimes it seems like this is the first time that they realize that they are both needed and wanted, and we care a lot when they're not there. They learn to communicate with coaches, captains, and their teammates. During matches, they have to learn to call out and plays. They have to move as a team to achieve the goal, which makes them collectively responsible for their team. Students are motivated and engaged to ensure that they are eligible for matches. They learn resilience, not to give up in the face of defeat, but instead to dust themselves off and try the next round. Competition is stressful. Juggling schoolwork and being on a varsity team and everything else in your life is stressful. We get to have excellent, just-in-time conversations with students about specific things. How are we handling today? What needs work today? What's our plan for this week? All questions we get to have unique conversations with in the arena. We get to focus on full body wellness. Through Grandview University in Des Moines, we've been lucky enough to work with both an eye doctor and a nutritionist. The eye doctor was able to give guidance on the layout and design of the arena and practice schedule to protect our students' eyes. The nutritionist and I have worked with the students to teach them the lifelong lesson that exercise and a good night's sleep are a much better stimulant for both your mental health and your game than that energy drink you seem to keep chugging down. This next school year, we are looking forward to working with an app called Fit Gamer, which is specifically designed wellness program for gamers. They're allowing us to have the full version for free because we get to try it out for the whole high school level. Finally, my most important goal of this program is community. As we all may know, students with adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, exhibit high probability for issues with academics and behavior. These are the students we are attracting into our space. Data indicates that while students with anxiety and depression may not come to school and may not even make it out of bed, 70% of them will still turn on their video game and play. This provides us with an opportunity to meet the students where they're at and help them feel like they belong to our community. I've mentioned this a couple of times, but my recent goal has really been to expand our college and university scholarship reach. Our first League of Legends teams, every single one of those seniors went to a school for no tuition costs between reduced fees and scholarships. As seniors now trickle out of my program, I want to ensure that they successfully navigate the collegiate scene, should they choose to. We go on college visits where I've learned to insist that they not only have the esports faculty, but also an admissions counselor and a financial aid representative. Not only have we cultivated college pathways, but we've driven students to enter the various fields that esports is connected to, a more than $1 billion, yes with a B, industry. Students from our program have gone on to professional teams, allowing them to continue in a real career pathway that they love and can make money at. Don't just take my word for it, take theirs.
Hi, I'm Ryan Ensley. I'm a junior. I'll be a senior next year. And the reason I'm in esports is because I'm very competitive. I like playing video games. I like the people that I play with.
My name is Tavion Reed. I'm in grade 10, and the reason why I'm in esports is because I like the community, and there's not very much people like me in this school. And I think all the gamers I know are introverted, and there's people like this and in here that I can actually have fun with and have like a very like close relationship with. Like I've made two genuine people I think are friends in here, and probably like the only people I'm probably going to be friends with for the rest of my high school career.
Hi, my name is Aislinn. I'm a sophomore and I'm in esports because escapism.
What is that?
Hi, my name is Barry Green, and I am a junior, and I'm in esports because my boy likes to play the games.
Hi, I'm Emma, and I play Overwatch for the Central Esports team. I am a junior, and I like playing Overwatch here at Central because I've always wanted to be on like a competitive esports team.
My name is Lee Van Harris. I'm a freshman, and it's gaming. It is what it is. Like, if you want to have fun, this is the place to be. We're very inclusive. You know, it's super fun. You can bring your own games as long as it's appropriate. But like, we're a fun community, and it's fun. It's all fun. Fun and games.
Because of the positive experience that students have had from Davenport Central, we want to open this opportunity up to all of Davenport High School students. With the high school principals, we've developed a plan to extend the esports program to both North and West this next school year, and we're very excited to onboard their coaches. What questions do you have?
Director Potts, did you have any questions?
I just wanted to make one specific comment. There was an excellent and large article in today's paper about the esports teams at Central. It was very well done, and it was very informative. The other comment I'd like to make is particularly on the comment that you just made about these kids are learning how to learn. And that's probably one of the most important things they can walk away with from an education.
Director Beck?
I just wanted to say thank you again for this presentation. And it has, I mean, I've known about esports for quite a while, but you have put into words why I never really understood why esports mattered. And I think this is so important. And I love your enthusiasm and your ambition. And we are really lucky to have you as part of our team to sort of get all of this off the ground. So thank you very much for doing what you do. And I have a sneaking suspicion that I have a child who will be seeing you in a few years.
Director Gordon?
So I know with most other athletic things in the district, there's fees and costs and stuff like that. What kind of fees and stuff are there associated with esports?
We assess no fees.
Not even for travel?
No, so far we've fundraised for everything that we needed.
Very cool. Thanks.
Director Beck?
One more question. Do kids have to know how to play these games before they sign up? And
No.
so if they don't have a gaming system at home or anything like that?
No. And we provide all of the equipment that they might need and the game license if they need it as well to participate.
Okay, good.
Director Poston?
You said you were going to be onboarding North and West. So do you have coaches lined up to do that already then?
I have people who have expressed interest, but we have not formally hired anybody for those positions.
Director Kleindro?
How many hours do you put into this outside of your regular day?
Do you want me to answer that for real? Okay, so we have esports practice every night after school except Wednesdays from 3:30 to 5:30. So, and that's for the whole school year because we have 3 different seasons. And then outside of that, we also have some face-to-face tournaments. You kind of saw some of those that happen on Saturdays. I would say no more than 1 a semester of those. So about that. Sometimes a little bit more depending if it's competition season or not. And we made the playoffs.
Director Hayes?
And you had mentioned in the beginning the shifting and finding the space in the home for the classes. For West and North, is that already kind of set up so they can just go in and have a place to be?
Yep. That's why we worked directly with the principals to make sure that that was worked out before we started talking to anybody.
When do you anticipate getting the staff to be in those? You haven't hired yet.
I think that might be a better question for the superintendent. Okay. We don't have an answer for that officially.
Okay.
Director Gordon?
Will Mid-City students have an opportunity to play for one of the other high schools if there's not going to be a space at their school for it?
Yeah. So the first team that you saw up there was actually had 4 Central students and a Mid-City student. So they do come over to Central or their home school to participate, just like they do for athletics.
Director Potts, did you have anything else?
No.
Okay. I was actually at a function for another board that I sat on, and someone was talking to me about trying to partner up and do something with esports at the Putnam, and then putting it on the championship game on the IMAX. I mean, there's there's we had did you had came and talked to us, and we kind of talked about it, and then evidently word got out, so they were talking about that and then asking me all these things. I'm like, that's not my wheelhouse, but I can put you in place with the right people. So it's a huge thing. They were talking about making it a huge event. I think they even talked about like Monster Energy and stuff sponsoring it and things like that, and places donating the systems and things. So it is a huge thing that's starting to come around. And a big thing for it too that we all talked about was, if that's the way you can engage kids to get them back on the right track, then by all means we should do those things, because if you pique their interest, then they're more involved and engaged with everything else. And I really like the fact that you run it just like the athletics, that you got to have good grades and all that. So that is awesome. It keeps the kids focused on all that. So I think that is a great thing. So thank you very, very much. And we are very lucky to have you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Board reports. Are there any board reports? All right. Communications. Open forum. Open forum is a time for members of the community to give input at a board meeting regarding school district issues or concerns. Individuals who want to speak, please fill out an open forum request and give it to the board secretary prior to open forum. The form is available in hard copy for in-person attendees or on the school board page of the district webpage. For those who want to participate virtually, virtual participants must email their request to Brenda T. at tbren@davenportschools.org by 3 p.m. on the day of the board meeting. The board will not act on any issue presented during open forum if it was not published as an agenda item. Iowa Open Meetings laws prohibit action on any issue that is not on the agenda. The president may set the amount of time allowed for individuals to speak. The board asks that no charges or complaints be made against individual employees of the district or community. Remarks that reflect negatively on the character or motives of any person will be called out of order. To participate virtually, call 1-312-626-6799 and enter the meeting ID 943-4004-1507. Were there any virtual ones? No virtual ones and no open forum requests. We will move on. May I have a motion on the consent agenda?
Mr. President,
Director Hayes,
I move that the board accept the consent agenda as written.
is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Klein Jerome. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. Director Hayes?
Yes.
Director Klein Jerome?
Yes.
Director Potts?
Yes.
Director Postian?
Yes.
Director Gordon?
Yes.
Director Beck?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. I forgot to notate this at the very beginning of the meeting, but Director Potts is participating remotely, just for the record. Approval of bills.
Mr. President,
Director Beck.
I move the board approve the following resolution. Resolved, all claims presented to the board having been duly certified as correct by the treasurer, reviewed by the administration and board members, and they are hereby audited and allowed as just claims and warrants drawn on the treasury for the several amounts. Further resolved, the payment of claims and salaries to be approved as presented for the periods of June 8th to June 21st, 2022, noting voided checks number 479141 for $446.23 and number 379378 for $578.32, both for the wrong amount.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Hayes. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. Director Beck?
Yes.
Director Hayes?
Yes.
Director Klein-Jerome?
Yes.
Director Poston?
Yes.
Director Gordon?
Yes.
Director Potts?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. Superintendent report.
None at this time.
Committee reports. Finance Committee.
We met last week, and I think, Kevin, you're going to present.
Yeah. So if you go to the monthly report first, Brenda. So this is looking at 11 months through the year. So we just have the month of June left that will be a heavy month for our accruals and deferrals to get everything in the right fiscal year. But this is actually really good news. And I wanted to point out the federal revenue. ESSER is always one of those things that are showing some variances from year to year. And on the top half where it shows revenues, and we have the $13.3 million of federal revenue, that is higher than the prior years, but that is due to receiving ESSER funds. In addition to that, they are $4.1 million in arrears from payments since we get paid on a quarterly basis. So that is 5 months worth through the month of May. So that number really should be $4.1 million higher if we're going to do the same amount of expenditures as we have revenue. So you're going to see that number go up in the month of June significantly. Also, as we go down to the expenditures on the salaries, there's two major things happening with our salaries that show this. First of all, I know it shows about $5 million more in expenditures. 4.3 million of that is attributable to more ESSER spending in salaries, but also $2.3 million is how much further we are ahead in the calendar. In FY21, we were how many days? 15 days from being done with the year. This year, we only had 4 days left in the calendar. So when we expense our June will be a much shorter month. So we are 9 days ahead. It was 13 days, sorry, in FY21. But so really that accounts for $6.6 million difference in salaries. So to compare to FY21, if you would subtract $6.6 million from there, it would show that with our staffing being appropriate and some vacancies, those two factors have brought down our total salaries from a comparison to the prior year. The other thing you'll notice that I showed that we have a $30 million balance. Again, that would be about $4.3 million higher if we had all of our ESSER funding paid, but we're much healthier on our ending fund balance. I also highlighted on our sales tax and on page 2, our PEPL, those balances of $32 million and a balance of almost $14 million on the next page. I just noted those because as we start to getting into our facilities and we start planning for what we're going to do going forward, those numbers become much more important so you know exactly what we have in the bank in those funds. That is why I highlighted those. But overall, from a year to date, we are doing much, much better. If you go back up to the top, you'll see the trend on those totals, and I'll express it more on the next report. But we're just doing much, much better financially. I think from a turning a corner perspective, you're starting to see that. You won't see this report again or the next report for 2 more months because we will be closing our June in July and August. September 15th is our certification date. So I just wanted to note that this is the last one for a couple months that you'll see. Any questions on where we're at year to date before we go to the key measures? If you'll go to the key measures, Brenda. Again, 11 months in, you'll see that our UAB is at 10.4%. With June being our accrual month, you'll see that probably go down just a little bit But where I wanted to show you from when you look to the left and you see the negative numbers, you see all the numbers in red as you go to the right, it just is so much better where we're at financially. Again, part of that is due to having the right staffing, but also some of our vacancies. You'll also see, especially when you look at our 93% UAB, how much we've spent. Normally, you'd like to have that near 100%, 98 to 100%. That'll probably go to 94, 95% before we end the year. But we're still, from our spending to our revenue, we are managing much, much better. And you'll see our solvency shows that at 16%. That will come down a little bit as well when we finish June. So the three key measures are really, we're pretty much at that point where we belong at the end of the year. Any questions?
Director Potts, did you have any questions?
No, I did not.
Does that conclude your presentation? Perfect. Thank you. Is there anything else the Finance Committee wants to add on their report? Okay, thank you. Data Wall Ad Hoc Committee, Director Hayes.
We are looking to schedule a meeting of the committee for July, I think it was 5th through the 15th, sometime in there. We're going to get back together. We're going to review the Growing Excellence Plan. We're going to review the district's plan. That way we can begin to align our data conversations with the conversations that are occurring inside the board. So that meeting's scheduled for the first 2 weeks of July, or will be.
Policy Committee.
Sorry. We had a what I would consider a very successful workshop facilitated by TAG last week on the mission statement of the district. And so I think we look forward to the next step with TAG on that. Otherwise, we are just about done converting all of our policies to the IASB numbering system for an official final transfer of numbering this summer.
Thank you. LZAC.
Nothing at this time, not until we meet again in the fall.
Okay. Director Potts, do you want to give an update on the long range facilities plan meeting?
Yeah, briefly. We met last Friday. The committee itself reviewed what some of the restructuring would look like if we went to the K4, 5, 8, 9, 12. Also looked at what some of that restructuring might look like if we went with the K5, 6, 8, 9, 12. Also, it was decided that before any community groups that we're using to help vet and or underwrite and support the going forward with the facilities plan, that the board would be apprised and see all that information prior to any outside groups.
Thank you, Director Potts, and we will be doing a deep dive on long range facilities plan at the regular meeting on July 11th. Legislative advocacy, superintendent and myself were at the Davenport City Council meeting. They were doing their discussion on the SRO agreement, so we were there on hand if they had any questions on that. And then also we thank them for their help, as well as the Davenport Police Department with graduation and everything like that. So, and just reassured that they're great community partners. And then I was at the City Council meeting last Wednesday and they discussed the SRO thing again, and they voted on it and passed it, so. All right. I didn't miss any committees, did I? I don't think so. All right, items requiring action. May I have a motion on subject 12.01, expenditure for flexibility account?
Mr. President,
Director Hayes.
I move the resolution be duly adopted as follows. Whereas Iowa Code provides school districts with greater flexibility to transfer eligible funds to other specific purposes, whereas the board, in consultation with its community through a public hearing with notice by the board passing a public hearing date on June 16, 2022, as prescribed by the Iowa Department of Education, has determined that excess funding in the flexibility account shall be transferred to non-categorical salaries and benefits in order to provide the best quality education for the students of the school district. And whereas the board proposes to use $712,228, $1,147,510, and $31,212 from the flexibility account, which comes from excess funds from fiscal year 2022 from the Teacher Quality PD, HSAP, and Teacher Development Academies, respectively. It has been certified that the statutory requirement for Teacher Quality PD, HSAP, and Teacher Development Academies have been met and repealed. Teacher Development Academies and an approved copy of the board resolution submitted to the Iowa Department of Education. Now therefore be it resolved by the board, passed and approved this 27th day of June, 2022.
Thank you. Feel free to get a drink after all that. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Beck. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. Director Hayes?
Yes.
Director Beck?
Yes.
Director Gordon?
Yes.
Director Potts?
Yes.
Director Poston?
Yes.
Director Kleindrome?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion on subject 12.02 SRO 28D agreement?
Mr. President,
Director Poston?
move the board approve the intergovernmental 28D agreement with the city of Davenport regarding school resource officers as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Kleindrome. Is there any discussion? Director Gordon?
I just want this clarified because I can't remember exactly how this was worded last time, but this is just agreeing that we're working with the city on this contract. It's not us definitely determining that we're going to keep SROs in the schools for 2 years, or yes, this does do that.
This contract, I believe the way it's written, it says we can get out of it anytime we want. But what we want to do is have some continuity over those 2 years. So that's why it's written the way it is, I believe. Willie, you have anything to add to that? Yeah. And the biggest component of it is that we had our SROs on varying MOUs. So this is really putting the two together and extending it. Does that answer your question, Director Gordon?
Yes, it does. I was trying to determine if I had a follow-up question, but I don't believe I do. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. Director Poston?
Yes.
Director Kleindrome?
Yes.
Director Potts?
Yes.
Director Gordon?
Yes.
What was that? Director Hayes?
Yes.
Director Beck?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion on subject 12.03 FNS?
Mr. President,
Director Poston?
move the board award commercial sandwich bread buns RFP to Panel Gold for $101,440 for the 2022-2023 school year.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Kleindrome. Is there any discussion? All right, I will call for the vote. Director Poston?
Yes.
Director Kleindrome?
Yes.
Director Hayes?
Yes.
Director Beck?
Yes.
Director Gordon?
Yes.
Director Potts?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion on 12.04 meal pricing?
Mr. President,
Director Beck.
I move the board approve meal prices for the 2022-2023 school year as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Kleindrome. Is there any discussion? Director Beck.
I guess I'm looking for a little bit of clarification on the change to the adult meal price. That wasn't part of the original documentation. Is that just
It's a it's a recommendation by the state. So the state tells us recommended meal price for this price. So that's what we followed. That's why it changed. We originally had it at $4.10, and then they came out with some information and told us what they were recommending, and at that point we changed it to $4.15
but it doesn't affect what we're recommending for prices, correct?
for students, or it's only
For
for
students.
adults. It's just for adults, not for students.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. Director Beck?
Yes.
Director Kleindrome?
Yes.
Director Hayes?
Yes.
Director Gordon?
Yes.
Director Potts?
Yes.
Director Poston?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion on subject 12.05 Fortinet contract?
Mr. President,
Director Hayes.
Mr. President, I move the board approve renewal of our licensing and upgrade our equipment for the 2023 school year at $180,363 for Fortinet firewall.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Kleindrome. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Director Hayes?
Yes.
Director Kleindrome?
Yes.
Director Poston?
Yes.
Director Potts?
Yes.
Director Gordon?
Yes.
Director Beck?
yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion on subject 12.06 huddle request for West High School?
Mr. President,
Director Poston.
move the board approve the contract for fiscal year 2022 to 2024 as a 3-year contract for activities film programming between West High and Agile Sports Technologies Incorporated, doing business as Huddle, for $32,400.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Kleindrome. Is there any discussion? I just have one question. I think we talked about this, are the other high schools going to switch to this model as well?
Based on conversations that Kevin and I have had, and with Garrett, the encouragement is to look at those longer term contracts to put those packages together based on where they're at with their current contracts. So there's been no additional communication at this point for requesting them for next year.
Okay. The reason I asked that because I would think it'd be a better deal if all 3 high schools went under the same and then had different seats. Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. Director Poston?
Yes.
Director Kleindrome?
Yes.
Director Beck?
Yes.
Director Potts?
Yes.
Director Gordon?
Yes.
Director Hayes?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion on subject 12.08 plasma table purchase?
Mr. President,
Director Beck.
I move the board approve the quote of $30,495 from MegaFab for the purchase of a plasma table for Central High School.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Posturing. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. Director Beck?
Yes.
Director Posturing?
Yes.
Director Gordon?
Yes.
Director Potts?
Yes.
Director Hayes?
Yes.
Director Kleindrome?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion on 12.09 challenge to change?
Mr. President,
Director Gordon.
I recommend the board approve the contract between Davenport Schools and Challenge to Change for fiscal year 2022-23 to teach social emotional mindfulness skills to students and staff in the amount of $85,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Hayes. Is there any discussion? Director Posturing.
I just want to be clear on when they had this in the school before, that was on a trial basis. Is that correct? Okay. So after this first initial year, I am assuming that we will get feedback on this. Okay.
Is this paying it out of ESSER funds?
Kevin?
It wouldn't qualify?
I don't believe. I do. I'll have to double check, but I do not believe that's coming out of ESSER funds at this time.
To answer your question, yes, it would. It probably would qualify. It'd be something good to investigate. Right now, I believe it's coming out of Title IV, which is one of the allowable expenses for this.
Director Posturing.
Just for comparison, what else is coming out of Title IV?
I can generate a report for the board if you would like. Title IV. Okay, here we go. Is health and well-being. So for programs just like this, there's a technology component out of it, and then there are educational opportunities like the biliteracy seals out of there. We pay for ACT testing, things like that out of there. And it has to be divided up into those three categories. And I think one of them requires a certain percentage to be set aside. For example, the technology component. You can only utilize it for so much technology. But I can generate a Friday report for the Title IV if you like. Actually, could bring that to the Finance Committee. That'd probably be a good idea.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. Director Gordon.
Yes.
Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director Beck.
Yes.
Director Potts.
Yes.
Director Kleindrome.
Yes.
Director Posturing.
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion on subject 12.10 Infinite Campus contract extension?
Mr. President,
Director Hayes.
I move the board approve the contract with Computer Information Concepts for Infinite Campus and table at for fiscal year 23 in the amount of $186,660.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Gordon. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director Gordon.
Yes.
Director Posturing.
Yes.
Director Kleindrome.
Yes.
Director Beck.
Yes.
Director Potts.
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion on subject 12.11 frontline location analytics?
Mr. President,
Director Beck.
I move the board approve the purchase of location analytics with Frontline for fiscal year 2023 in the amount of $26,373.31.
Second.
Perfect. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. Director Beck.
Yes.
Director Posturing.
Yes.
Director Kleindrome.
Yes.
Director Gordon.
Yes.
Director Potts.
Yes.
Director Hayes.
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion on subject 12.12 transfer requests related to staff ESSER payouts and billing F and S.
Mr. Chairman,
Director Passion.
move the board approve the fund transfers from ESSER in the general fund to save food and nutrition, OOST, and self-insurance for $2,798.90, $176,055.62, $4,195.64, $4,195.64 respectively, and a transfer from food and nutrition to the general fund for $310,618.82.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Beck. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Director Passion.
Yes.
Director Beck.
Yes.
Director Klein Jerome.
Yes.
Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director Potts.
Yes.
Director Gordon.
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion on subject 12.13 Urban Education Network membership renewal?
Mr. President,
Director Hayes.
I move the board renew the membership with UAN of Iowa for the 22-23 fiscal year for $10,750.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Beck. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director Beck.
Yes.
Director Poston.
Yes.
Director Klein Jerome.
Yes.
Director Potts.
Yes.
Director Gordon.
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. Discussion items. Up first, we have subject 13.01, hearing interpreter contract. I'll turn it over to the superintendent.
Courtney, if you'd like to talk about this one.
So this is our contract with the AEA to provide services that are outlined in students' IEPs who are hearing impaired and need sign language interpreters. So this is the contract for the upcoming school year, which will entail about 14 interpreters.
Is there any questions? Director Poston?
How many kids does this involve? Do you have any idea what that would be?
Yes, it's 13 students, and we have 14 so that we have a sub in the mix.
Any other questions? I'm assuming this will be on the July 11th for items requiring action. All right. Administrative reports.
None at this time.
Board request. None at this time. Board reflections. We'll start with Director Potts.
Well, I would say one of my board reflections would be the speed with which we were able to conclude today's meeting. The other part of that, I would say, would be the presentation on the esports, because we had that brief conversation at our board meeting, last board meeting, which was enlightening, at least for me. And then the additional information presented today, along with the rather extensive article that was in the paper, was very helpful.
Thank you, Director Potts. I had you in mind when we planned the meeting for today.
I thought you might.
Director Gordon.
I also really enjoyed the esports presentation. I really liked the video she shared of the students. It was cool to see it in action.
Thank you, Director Hayes.
I like the very positive financial report as well as the esports and the video with one of the students talking about the community and the inclusiveness and the fact that 100% of the seniors receive scholarships.
Thank you, Director Klein Jerome.
I appreciate the fact that we are ending the year financially much better off than if you look back over the last few years. Not by any means that's where we need to stop, but at least we are making great strides in improvement. And the fact that these students, competition esports, $1.2 million in reduced fees and scholarships. That's a lot of money to play video games. That just kind of blows me away, but that's very cool.
Thank you, Director Poston.
Like everyone else, it's good to see this esports program get off the ground. It helps get a lot of students more engaged that maybe otherwise wouldn't be involved. And the other thing is all the items under requiring action. I'd like to thank the staff for getting all this to us in a timely fashion and being able to answer our questions. And I know it takes a lot of time and effort, and I appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you, Director Beck.
Yeah, the two highlights for me were seeing the students in action in the esports presentation, and the fact that the number is not red on the budget sheet in June. That's something that, again, as Director Kleindrom said, we're not done, but it's nice to see.
Thank you, Superintendent Schneckloff.
I would agree with the esports presentation. I think it's a good example of, you hear in education all the time we're preparing students for jobs that don't exist now and worlds and employment opportunities that don't exist, and this is an example. This wasn't here when a lot of us were going to school, and so to envision it is hard to see, and that it is a huge moneymaker for businesses, and it's going to have a place at the table, and we're at the forefront of that, and I'm proud of the work that our team is doing for that. The other one is the Urban Education Network is a great partnership. We have every single one of our directors over there has connections with other people inside of our in that network. Iowa is very unique. There's 8 charter members of the UEN that are like us, that are dealing with very similar issues to us, and so it's kind of a collaborative team. So I'm glad to see that went through.
Thank you. I wanted to again thank Kim Hoffman. She came in and helped us out doing dual roles at a time when a lot of people were running the other way, and she put in a lot of work, and she did take TJ's advice and sneak out of here, so good for her. But she was a huge asset to the team, and I'm sure Courtney will do a great job, so we appreciate that. I really did appreciate the esports presentation as well, because it seems like it's opening up a lot of partnership opportunities, and a lot of people are excited about it. And if that's something that we can meet kids where they are and get them engaged and calibrated on the right track, I think that's a huge thing, and it'll be a game changer for us. And then the other part about being positive in our finances is hugely awesome, and thank you very much to the Finance Committee and Kevin and TJ and all the staff with all that stuff. With that, Director Potts, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Meeting adjourned. See you out there.